Henry's Map by David Eliot. For my sister Karen, who loves maps. Henry was a very organized sort of pig. He liked knowing exactly where everything was in his tidy little sty. He straightened his mirror and smiled.
"A place for everything and everything in its place,"
he said. Henry looked out his window and frowned. Tsk, tsk. What a mess the farm was! How could anybody ever find anything out there? Then he had an idea.
"I shall make a map," he said, "so that everyone will know what belongs where."
He went to his cupboard for his pencil and some paper and trotted to his table. The first thing he drew was his sty, and he drew a picture of himself next to it. Then he rolled up his map and marched outside. At the wool shed, he came across Maisie, Daisy, and Clementine.
"Bah! What are you doing, Henry?"
they asked.
"I'm making a map of the farm,"
said Henry.
"Oh, how exciting!"
cried the sheep.
"Are we in it?"
"You are right here," said Henry, and he drew a square for the wool shed with 3 sheep beside it. The sheep clapped their hooves together. Henry walked across the meadow and came upon Abigail sitting in the shade of a large oak tree. "Hello, Henry! What are you doing?" asked Abigail. But before he could answer, the sheep cried, "Bah! He's making a map of the farm, and we're in it." "Really?" said Abigail. "Can I be in it too?"
"Certainly,"
said Henry, and he drew a scribbly circle for the oak tree and a picture of a cow. Henry continued on his way until he saw Mr. Brown grazing by his stable. "Hello, Henry! What are you doing?" neighed Mr. Brown. Maisie, Daisy, Clementine, and Abigail quickly shouted, "He's making a map and we're all in it!" "Remarkable!" snorted Mr. Brown. "Is there room for a horse?"
"Of course,"
said Henry. He took out his pencil and drew a square for the stable and a picture of a horse. By the time Henry arrived at the chicken coop, all the animals were in an uproar.
"A map! Henry's making a map, and we're all in it!"
they exclaimed. He drew a square for the coop and 3 chickens.
"Now," he said proudly, "we'll know where everything is. Follow me,"
said Henry, leading the other animals up the hill.
"I'll show you my map."
All the animals looked at the farm. Then they looked at the map. And then they looked at the farm again.
"But we're not there,"
bleated the sheep. "We're gone," whinnied Mr. Brown. "Oh, no!" mooed Abigail.
"Where did we go?"
squawked the chickens. Henry looked out at the empty farm. There was no sign of the animals from his map. Down the hill they dashed, Henry leading the way, clutching his map. He rushed to the chicken coop, staring at his map.
"There should be hens right here,"
he said.
"Here we are,"
puffed the hens, running behind him.
"Thank goodness,"
said Henry. He ran to the stable.
Mr. Brown!
He called. I'm right here, snorted Mr. Brown.
What a relief,
gasped Henry.
Abigail?
He yelled when he reached the oak tree. Coming! mooed Abigail, running to her tree.
Thank heavens,
said Henry.
But what about those sheep? Here we are,
cried the sheep, dancing on the wool-shed steps.
Your map was right after all, Henry.
But Henry needed to be sure. He hurried back to his sty and threw open the door. There was no one inside. He tiptoed over to his mirror. Slowly, he looked into it.
There you are, Henry,
he smiled.
Just where you ought to be.
A place for everything, and everything in its place. The